taxes, keeping my book straight, running a profit and loss statement, it all gets so confusing. I used to spend more time trying to worry about my taxes and if I'm doing them right than I actually did working on my business. I needed a solution. That is when I found Core Financial. Core is a team of tax professionals that actually care about real relationships with their clients. From the moment I hired Core, I was able to trust that I will be fully taken care of. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all the tax breaks I qualify for. Are you struggling to understand your finances? Do you need help making sure you don't make any mistakes? Look no further. Core Financial. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core Financial, and we know you will be too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to see what they can do for you. Core Financial. Real relationships. No surprises.
So, if I filmed a wedding on January 1st, I will say, hey, did I say something weird?
No, I have a thought after you're done.
Okay, cool. Hey everyone, I'm really sorry, but I totally flubbed on the audio on this episode. There's a lot of great content, but we just couldn't re-record it. So I'm sorry my audio is off, but I promise you that everything that we say is gold. You're going to love it. Enjoy this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast.
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn. I'm joined as always by my good buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, how are you, my friend? What's new? Tell me what's good in your world.
I am doing well. Been just working on a project that John and I have mentioned, the podcast blueprint. Yep. You can find more information about what the how to make a podcast. It's something else we're doing. So I've been working a lot on that over the last few weeks. My wife and I planned a family vacation yesterday. She's been chomping at the bit to go somewhere.
Yeah, you are.
We feel good about it. We're going to South Dakota, Custer State Park. So,
nice.
Lots of open space, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that in June. And we planned that yesterday. So we're, feeling good, doing good. I have a planner reached out to me and she's like, hey, I have a couple that is interested in you. Can you meet with us tomorrow? Maybe they'll book you. And I'm like, that's not really how I like to do it, but sure. I'll come meet with you and talk to the couple. So I'm doing that tomorrow. So
wear a
lots
mask.
of stuff going on. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm telling you this, you said you've been working on another project and for, 6 weeks now, something like that, 6-8 weeks ago, we were all in this lockdown and I remember having a conversation with you, Nick, we can either sit around and do nothing because we're all caught up on weddings, or we can just go try to kick some butt and take some names. And so there we are. We've done that. I've mentioned it a couple times, but it's I've been reading a lot. I've been turning the news off a lot. I've been I think I've polished 5 books in the month of May. You
just
whatever.
Polish them? You
just
sit down
clean
and
them up. Yeah.
Rub them like a genie lamp?
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's motivating, and they're like a genie lamp. So yeah, I've been reading all these books. I turned off the news. I turned off Twitter, and have just been focusing on how I can impact my family and my business for the best during this time. And yeah, like Nick said, we've been working on the podcast blueprint, the How to Make a Podcast channel. So if you're interested in podcasting, plug for that. Check it out. But a lot of people after last week were talking about money, talking about budgeting. Several people put messages on the the Facebook group just talking about how the budget sheet, the talk of budget, that's changing their lives and it's getting their finances in order. And so we wanted to kind of just keep having a conversation, kind of moving now more towards, we've talking about budgeting our money. We're talking about life after COVID-19. And now we just wanted to, it's been a while since we had an episode where we really just broke down the client experience, everything that we do from the time that they reach out to the time they book, to the time their wedding happens. And so we just wanted to kind of give you all our strategy right now for the client experience and what all we're doing.
Yeah, and we want to let you know kind of how we got here, right? As last week we were talking about money and budgeting, And John and I are really firm believers that if you treat your clients very, very well, you take care of them, you view them as, a friend or, a family member or this special group of people that, is kind of elite, that kind of stuff. If you treat them really, really well, whenever it comes time for, you actually do need 2 more hours, which is going to cost you $1,000 extra, or you actually do this, or I know you said you didn't want ceremony, but mom says you want ceremony, and then when you tell them that it's $500 to $1,000 more, they don't freak out because you have built this really good relationship with them. And so, kind of the idea behind the client experience is talking about how we are able to charge more money, but not be like skeezy about it and not be like greasy salesman, used car salesman about it. I know John really likes that phrase, the used carsman, that salesman about it, but do it as a, hey, we really think that you will benefit from this and you will need this, not, just trying to take their money or charge them for something that they really don't need. So we want to help you with that bottom line with budgeting. So this is a way that you can do that.
Fun fact, real fast. Fun fact, you said used car salesman. Actually, I come from a line of used car salesmen. My dad was a used car salesman for a while, and his dad was one. And so I know exactly
So is that what's going to happen? Is that what's going to happen
if this
when you
doesn't
turn like
work
45
out,
or 50?
Yeah, if this doesn't
like 45
work,
or 50?
Yes. If this doesn't work out for me, I remember there was keychains that had the number 1, and they say, "You're number 1 with Danny Bunn." That was real, and I still have one. And that was his slogan. So you're number 1 with Johnny Bunn right there. Car salesman coming at you 2030. But in all seriousness,
can you please wear a plaid leisure suit?
I always will. Yes, though. But back to the client experience and taking care of them. We had a mentor session this week with a company out in, I think it was, where are they from?
She was close to Philadelphia,
and we're talking about different ways to make more money and do different things, and we really broke down our client experience with her, and I felt like it really would be beneficial for the listeners out there to really hear this information, because I think so many of us just are uncomfortable when it comes to sales, yes, but just building a relationship with your client. And some of you, you might do weddings where the bride has hired a planner. They do not want to talk to you. I'm not necessarily talking about those clients, but for the most part, even the high-end weddings that I'm doing, most of them, the couple are really cool with taking time to get to know me. And I feel more like family than a vendor to them. And so that's what my goal is with them. And so, Nick, I wanted to just kind of start at when someone inquires with us. What happens when someone inquires with you in the vein of how you're thinking about when it comes to serving them, customer service, client experience, from the very moment that they even get onto your website or start to reach out to you?
Well, the first thing that Jen and I are thinking about with our video company, Wild Oak Films, is we want to serve our customers before they even reach out to us. Before they really know we exist, or as soon as they found us, we want to serve them really well. And so we were actually going through a website facelift. There you go. That's the word. I can never think about it. We're not really changing much about our logo and our feel. We're just making it better. We've hired a designer. We've hired someone to do all that for us. And we're in the middle of that process. And so the idea is we want to give them a really, really good idea of who we are before they even send us that inquiry form.
That's
good.
We're
very purposeful in the films that we put on our website. Okay. There is the adage, and I know you've heard me say it before, show the type of work that you want to shoot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've shared this tons and tons of times. We used to shoot a ton of Catholic weddings. I really didn't care to shoot Catholic weddings because I didn't like how the day was structured. I didn't like the long ceremony. I just didn't care for them. So I quit putting them on my website, and I went from about 50% Catholic weddings to about 10 to 12% Catholic weddings. Okay. Number has drastically shifted. So just putting that out there, we show the types of films on our website that we want to shoot. And then we put a lot of information about us, who we are, what we like to do, what we believe, what we're about, the things that we believe separate us from the people that are in town that are also creating wedding videos. So they get a really good feel for us. And we think that that serves them really well because, we want to attract and we want to repel. So if there's someone that's coming to my website that isn't my client, I want her to know that she's not my client just by looking at my website and watching our videos and information about us. If someone sees that my wife and I are Christians and I was a youth pastor for 11 years and that's totally turned off by them, then that's okay. But I'm okay not working with them if that's something that they don't jive with. We want people to feel like they know us really, really well. And then whenever they inquire with us, I do our very, very best to get back to my couples as soon as possible. We've mentioned that before. They send an inquiry. In a perfect world, I've said this, I get an inquiry, I respond 10 minutes later, I have a phone call set up with them, within the hour or something like that. That's like a perfect world. But by me responding quickly, and usually I will send an email and then I will follow up that email with a text, because I've had problems in the past with HoneyBook emails not going through. Not so much haven't noticed it anymore, but I just follow up with text and say, hey, I sent that over to you, some pricing information. Did you get it? Are you interested in scheduling a phone call? So then they're getting it from two places. And that shows that I care to respond to them. I can't tell you how many people have contacted us and said, hey, I've reached out to other vendors and I reached out to them 2 days ago. I still haven't heard from them. And you got back to me within minutes. So responding quickly definitely serves them really, really well. And then I set up a phone call. And yes, it's a sales phone call, but it's also a getting to know them phone call. And, John and I have broke down our wedding day consultation or our meeting consultations before. And we have our guide on our website if you're interested in purchasing that to see exactly how we do that. But in me talking to them and listening to them and hearing about them, I think that shows that we care and they're getting an experience from us that they might not be getting from somebody else. Also, the fact that we do set up a phone call says to them that, I don't know, some people don't like it, and that's okay. If you don't like it and you don't want to schedule a phone call with me, then I guess that you're not my client, right? But by me taking that extra step, a phone call is more personal. A Skype meeting or Skype. Do we even use Skype anymore? I think we say that, but who uses that? Setting up a FaceTime or a Zoom call, face-to-face, something like that, just shows them that I want to take those extra steps to serve them better and get to know them a little bit rather than just sending an email. So that's kind of our initial, how our website is. And then whenever people contact us, I feel like I've just talked a lot over the last few minutes. John, do you have anything you want to add? Because I know you do.
Sure. Great job, by the way. And I think it's funny that when you do talk a while, you always mention that you talk a while. That's what we're here for. We talked for an hour.
Well, that is true. That is true. It's our job.
One thing you said that stood out, by serving your clients and I think a lot of people don't think about this, is for the most part, couples are trying to see who's behind the camera and who's behind the lens, and they want to know the personality of the company, and they expect to know that now because everyone is moving. A lot of people are moving away from like this big company feel to more of a personalized. And so by Nick and Jen putting themselves on there, or myself and Nina doing having photos of us and stories of us and making it very attractive to to the people that it should be attracted to and repelling to the people that would be repelled, is a service to your couples and to other people that aren't going to book you. If they are turned off by you and your story, you just saved everybody time. And so the only thing I would add to any of that, we're very similar in trying to serve the couple the whole way through by responding quickly, setting up meetings, is the experience of just the way that it's hard to put into words, but the experience that they have just from the moment that they walk through the doors of your business. Whenever you walk into a nice hotel, you can just feel an experience happening, whether that be the sounds or the smells or the, the way that, the people are dressed or the way that the words they use, the way they hold themselves. And so like you have to really look at your entire brand and say, how do I want people to feel by the words that I'm writing on my website or the way that I answer the phone? If I call somebody, I'm like, hey, what's up? It's John. Like, or if I'm like, John with Redeem Productions, how may I help you? Like there's neither one of those is wrong, but like just the way that you communicate, the way that your pricing sheet says things, you're communicating a story and you're teaching them how expensive you are because you're not like a physical location that like typically that they're going in and seeing, wow, you're expensive. And I get it. You're conveying that message with every single part of the transaction from the website, the logo, the branding, the wording, the quickness of how, you get back to them, your professionalism on the phone, and walking them through, like we've talked about, the consultations, the bookings and all that. And if you haven't checked out our guide or the episodes we've done on consultations, we would encourage you to go back and listen to those. But let's skip forward, Nick. Let's say somebody meets you, they say they want to book, they're ready to go. What does that process look like for you and Jen from the time they say yes? Yeah.
Okay. Can I back up just a step?
Back that thing up, my friend. Just back it up.
Little bit.
Back it up.
So, there is I will say that there is power in, whenever you're having these meetings to actually asking the person if they want to book with you. That's why I used to wait till after the meeting to send them prices, and I'm not sure why I did that, but I've started sending the pricing like right before we have our meeting, and then I ask them on the phone, so what are you guys thinking? Are you guys ready to move forward? And I let them sit with that. And the reason that I do that is so that they can make, and I'm not trying to like be pushy or anything like that, but I'm letting them know, hey, if you want to book with me, I am ready to book with you. Okay, let's do that, put that out there. And then if they're like, okay, no, we need to talk about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You have, our pricing information, and then I'm going to follow up with you in a few days, if I haven't heard anything. And I do have emails that go out 24 hours, 3 days, and 5 days after our phone call. And some people are like, man, that's a lot. Like that's kind of a bold move. Does that annoy people? And it might annoy them, but no one has told me that's annoyed them, but it lets them know that I'm interested in booking them and I want to work with them and that they don't forget about me. Because on average, people are talking with 3 other of the same vendor that you are. Okay, on average. And so you don't want to get lost in that crowd. So I am following up with them to make sure that they can know that I'm still here and know that I'm still around. So I follow up with them. Let's say they book me. The very first thing that we do, we have emails that are like, we're so excited you brightened our day. Thank you for following us or hiring us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, that kind of thing. What are their Instagram handles? I give them my phone number and say, make sure you save this in your phone. You can text me with any questions or give me a call whenever you need to. Let them know I'm available. And then we send them a gift at booking, which we get from greetable.com. I know we've mentioned that before, but that is greetbal.com. Sorry, greetable.com. And it's just a nice little box that you can put pictures in. And we usually go on their Instagram account and screen grab some pictures from their accounts, put them in that little box, and then put our logo in it as well. Write them a little message, and you can send them stuff like a $25 Starbucks gift card, or some little gummies or some chocolates, or just something, and let them know that you're excited about working with them. That little gift that cost me $25 to $30 to send in the mail is so, like, they are so grateful and they are so thankful and they love it. And it's like they're already on our side and they're excited that they're working with us. And now that just raises the bar of how excited they are.
Yeah, and I stole that idea from Nick with Greetable, and Nina and I did something a little different where we did a photo shoot together. Nina's not my wife. She's the photographer for our business. And so we have 3 different setups, just photo, just video, or a video photo. So we took all these photos together and then separate. where we had confetti and we were like throwing confetti up, and it was more of like we're really excited that you booked Redeemed Productions. It had like a message about how excited we are, and then in the box are the photos of us, and you can include like confetti in the box. So they get this box in the mail. It's got photos of us. It's got a message from us. It has like fun facts about us. So it's not to like necessarily prop us up, but it's also to be like, we want you to know us and us to know you, and we're giving you this experience. And literally every single one of the people that we've sent that to over the last year has taken a photo, tagged us on Instagram, and thanked us. And like, that's great. I would do it even if they don't. But, for us too, I try to open up the line of communication when it comes to text messaging and tell people that they're not bugging me. This is my job. I'm here all the time. I actually appreciate a text from you. If not, I'm just going to sit here and edit all day. So it's nice. I'll check my phone every hour or something like that during the day. So I open up that communication. It's kind of like walking into a room with a couple on the wedding day and giving them a hug, or, putting your hand on your shoulder so they know that you're going to be like touching, that you're going to be in their bubble, and like you warm them up to that. And that's the same way with like these kinds of things where we're mailing them something, we're texting them, and so that is part of the way. And some people might be like, that's way too much work. That's way, and everybody's in a different position. I only take 15 to 20 weddings a year, and I want to have that interaction. That's part of the fun for me. I enjoy it. And so what it does though, and it's really helpful in the fact if you're only wanting to shoot a certain number, or if you're wanting to raise your cost per booking up, the more you get to know these people and the more you learn their pain points and the more that you hear from them, like the more you know things that they could potentially buy from you, and also the more that they build trust. And like, you don't want to take advantage of that, but the more that they trust you, the more they start asking you like, hey, we're thinking about sunset this time. I get asked like when the ceremony should be all the time. I get asked like, and I get to have my hand in helping all these decisions that ultimately help me serve them better. And I'm not just like the guy that they book and then they get an email a week before with, here's what's in your package, here's what's going to happen. Like, those are the kinds of vendors that they treat as the help, that they want all kinds of changes, and they treat you like you're just one of the people there. There's a difference between you and somebody that's like on the wait staff on the wedding day. Right. There's a big difference. And so you're the one that's setting that narrative, and people think that's way too much work. And it's literally like, I maybe spend an extra 30 minutes per couple than I would if it just feels like a lot, but it's not. But just having that communication open there. So that is, the same thing we do when booking is just kind of giving them our numbers, getting them a gift, opening the line of communication. Now let's fast forward a little bit, Nick, unless you have anything to add to that.
Well, I was just along kind of like, giving little gifts, and we use Greetable because it's easy. It's online. You just send it to them. Here's a tidbit how we do that. I like it so that it's a surprise. So as they're filling out their contract, like at the very top of their contract, we ask for their address. And then we just pull their address from that. So as in the booking process, if you want to do something like this and make it somewhat of a surprise, just ask for their address within the contract, like the top couple lines of your contract, so you can have that information. Also, make sure if you're doing a lot of destination stuff that you ask for city and state, because some people just put their street address and you're like, okay, I don't know where that is, So make sure you put all of that information. One thing I wanted to add in about, and then you don't have to use Greetable. There's lots of different websites out there. You can send them, depends on how much you want to spend, but you can spend them like, a wine and chocolate or wine and cheese, or, just a dinner gift card. You can send them whatever you want to send.
A handwritten note. Anything really.
Note, really. But it's just letting them know that you thought about them and you care about them and that you're excited to work with them. Now, I know with COVID-19 and postponements and reschedules and all of that stuff, there's lots of different things going on. One thing that Jen and I have done is all of the weddings that are being postponed, we have sent those couples a gift in the mail saying, hey, we're so sorry that you don't get to celebrate when you wanted to celebrate, but we're really looking forward to your wedding in November or, whenever it is. And that has gone over really, really well too. It's just these people are like, oh, you're thinking about me. You're excited. You care that I had to reschedule my wedding, and we spent a little bit more, probably like $50, $75 per package for those. Of course, we've only had 4 that have actually changed their date. So it's not as, costing as much for us as it might somebody else. But that's just another way, if you haven't done that you might want to consider sending them a package and saying, hey, I'm so sorry about this, but I'm really looking forward to your wedding.
And another thing on top of that with the COVID stuff going on is by being in touch with all of my couples, the transition into the conversation with them about, hey, what's going on? One of our brides, we met with them, with her 4 months ago. And I was really at that time in the beginning of a really good weight loss journey. And so she was like, wow, you've lost weight. And I was like, yeah, I've lost 30 pounds. And she was like, oh my goodness, I've lost 7 pounds. I'm trying to be down by 15 by the wedding. And so the next week she sent me a text and she was running and she was getting ready for that wedding. And so since then, every time that she goes running with her fiance or if every time I go do a run, it's we've sent back and forth just the map of what we ran and so it's just we've built this relationship. And I was it'd be really fun to include something to do with you guys running in your wedding film. And I just know more about them. And so what that did though is I'd been communicating. So I was hey, what's the scoop on your wedding? What can I do? It wasn't I was the last vendor that she thought about after she moved the day. So they moved the day based on my availability. And there's just the benefit of being part of the family instead of being, just one of the other vendors. And so there's a lot more to talk about with the client experience, Nick. I do want to know kind of what you do leading up to the wedding,
Sure.
different ways you make more money. But we're going to do that right after this break.
So tell me, what CRM do you use? If you're not sure or you don't know what a CRM is, I'm about to save you a lot of time and therefore money. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Basically, a CRM is an online service that helps you better serve your clients. HoneyBook is both mine and John's CRM of choice. We absolutely love it. HoneyBook allows us to do all of our correspondence, contracts, and payments all in one place. One of the features that I love is the automated workflow. We all have emails that we send out to all of our clients, right? At 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the week of. All of us do it. Automated workflows make it so that those emails can go out automatically. Since I don't have to take time to, 1, remember to send them out, and 2, to write them, I save time and make more money by working more efficiently. Are you interested in saving time on the business side of things? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook for a free 1-week trial. Also, because the Honeybooks really like me and John, we can give you $200 off of your first year, and that also comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook to start saving lots of time in your business. Oh yeah, legally I have to tell you that John and I are affiliates of HoneyBook.
All right, we are back from break, and we are going to start out with the question of the day presented by Wedditor. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. Nick, the Wedditor question of the day, what are some ways to make more money off of the current couples you are working with?
Oh, I love this question. And this is actually a journey that Jen and I are currently on in knowing John and hearing the success that he has had from doing this. We have really shifted to kind of the same model that he uses with his sales and that kind of stuff. So the one thing that John has preached for a while, and I actually am not going to have a meeting like this probably until November, I want to say at the earliest, just with how we started doing this process. But, we have our kind of base system that is our highlight film. Every couple gets their ceremony and the amount of coverage. And then we have all these a la carte options. And then we have a big, this is everything package, right? Which is, $9,000, $10,000, whatever dollars. And And so we're telling our couples, hey, your wedding is 13 months away. You don't know all the stuff that you're going to necessarily need on the wedding day. So if you want to secure us, this is our base price. This is what you get. And then we're starting to do the 6-month out meeting. I know I have 4 of these for next year on the books that I'm going to be doing. But the idea is, 5 to 6 months out, when the couple still has money in their budget and they have a much better idea of the wedding day. I will meet with them, meet with whoever's paying for it. John suggests that he wants to have the planner there as well as a part of that meeting, if at all possible. Do it in person, do it over Zoom, but something where you can see each other's faces. And then say, put it in the context of, I want to serve you well, and I want you to have the best experience possible, and I want you to have everything that you could want for your wedding day. So if you kind of come in it like that, and then also let them know up front, hey, as we're talking about this, I'm going to make suggestions, but I am not going to sell you something that you don't need. Like you could say, hey, I want you there for 16 hours on my wedding day. I want you from when I start to get ready to whenever the after party ends and we're leaving. Okay. But you're looking at it at their day and you're like, you only need me there for 9 hours. Like if you want me there for 16, sure, I will do that. But I'm telling you right now that I don't believe that you need that. So if you come with that kind of heart, I think that will go over well. And you're just trying to educate them. Okay. I don't, for many couples, I don't think having a ceremony video is super duper important. For some it is, but I think for mom and dad, having a ceremony video is really, really important. So if you aren't, if a ceremony isn't coming with their package, but mom is a part of this meeting and she realizes that and she's like, oh, I would like that. How much does it cost? And you can kind of build a package and say, hey, this is what you currently have. These are my suggestions based on the timeline that the timeline we've put together and the things that mom or planner is saying that we need to think about. And then you send that over to them and say, let me know what you would like to do. Right? So, John, how do you, since you're way more experienced at this, I'm super green. What are things that you're thinking about? What are you asking? What are you talking about whenever you have a meeting like this?
Yeah. The main thing that I'm doing when I'm serving these clients in this experience is, a lot of the times our couples do book, we have a base package that's pretty much everything you need. And that's where I'm trying to get them in the door at and let them see the prices of everything, but giving them time to digest the cost and like what that is and to learn about me. And, at the beginning of the wedding planning, hopefully they're thinking, okay, I've got to get a venue, I've got to get a dress, I've got to get a photographer, I have to get a videographer, and then I can breathe. Like that's what most of our clients are thinking. They're just like, if I get those big ones, I can then, pick a band, I can pick flowers, I can or whatever. But the people involved in, your planner, your photo, your video, and then the venue itself being open. So they're dealing with a lot when they're booking you.
Sure.
But they know they want you, and so they book you. And you let the dust settle a little bit from that initial phase where they're just like, oh my goodness, we're spending tens of thousands of dollars on all these things. And so if you're just, the narrative that you have with them is, I'm going to be, I don't have a base package that isn't good enough for anyone. It's not a base. I don't call it the base. I don't do any of that. I want them to feel like that package is sufficient. But I just kind of allude to the fact that like, as we get closer and more of the timeline, we'll know more about what you might need. And we can, I send them over all the pricing for everything. So yeah, when that 6 months comes up, you said it real well, like exactly what we do. I did want to mention a story of a bride the first time we did this as a test and I was sold, I think we added like $5,000 or $6,000 worth of extras at that point. And I was just like, this is crazy. And so, if you think about it and you're out there and you're like, man, $1,000 more per wedding would change my life. I could quit my job. I could be the rock star wedding videographer that I've always wanted to be. Like I can take less weddings. I could have less backlog, all these pain points. And so, something as little as $1,000 extra per wedding, if you're shooting 20, 30 weddings, it adds up. And so, these 6 month meetings that we do are well worth it. And this one that I did, I met the couple at the Starbucks that's a mile from my office. The planner was there, the bride and her mom. And my heart going into that meeting was, I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I just want to hear, and for the most part, I'm asking questions about things that I don't really need the answers to quite yet. What kind of flowers are you doing? How are you going to set up the reception? Tell me about the day. That gets them really excited about the day, gets them in that mode. They're with their planner, so it kind of turns into like a bride and planner meeting, and I'm just here in the middle of it, which is perfect. Because they're in this mode, and mom's sitting there, and it gives you the chance to like give them this expertise that you have. Oh, you probably don't want to do the first look at that spot in the venue because of this, or you probably. And so in this specific meeting with Brooke, our bride, I just remember understanding at that point more than I did about the wedding before the meeting, and was just like, well, I'm not going to sell you anything you don't need, but your ceremony sounds like it's going to be beautiful outside on this really nice golf course. All these details, like just started learning about them, and mom's sitting there, and mom's like, oh yeah, you for sure want the ceremony. And she's like, I don't care about the ceremony. And mom's like, no, you want that ceremony. And so like, I don't just have a price sheet that I lay out in front of them to confuse them. The experience that I'm giving them is I'm there, I'm a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to hear and digest everything that they're talking about, and then I'm going to send them pricing once we're done with the meeting. I'm going to bundle it up and give them like a better deal for all the things that they really need and some of the things that they could do. And that one, like, they needed aerial coverage, and they wanted me to come to the rehearsal dinner, and they wanted me to be there for 16 hours, and they wanted all this stuff, and I was just like, I will get you the pricing. And I think the real bill would have been like $6,800 or something. And I bundled it together for like $5,400 and said, I line itemed it out and said, this is the cost for all these things, but I want to bundle it together. If you guys add this, I'll do it. And they said, okay, cool. Just send over the contract. And it was like, that right there was the equivalent of me doing another wedding 2 years before. And so then I'm making all this extra money. I have way more time to spend, and it snowballs. You take less weddings, you have more time. And I don't think you should get down to 1 or 2 weddings. That's not the goal for a lot of us. But if you can get in your happy place of whatever that is and be able to serve the clients better, that's the ultimate goal for me. You were going to say something.
Yeah. One thing I really wanted to say in here, I think whenever so many people come to sales, they're so concerned about, well, I need to say this. I need to get my pitch out. I need to explain all of these things about me, like making it about me, the wedding videographer, and all this stuff that I know and all this information that I have. And you should be presenting that stuff. However long you've been doing this, you have way more expertise than the bride probably ever will, right? So you need to get that information out there. But I think whenever you have that focus, as you have a sales meeting of some kind, you're missing the point. If you come in and your number one goal is to listen and listen for their pain points. What do I mean by a pain point? The bride says, well, I'm really concerned about our timeline because we have you for 8 hours. And, if you're only there for 8 hours, then either I'm going to miss you doing my getting ready stuff, or you're going to miss the toasts on the back end. Like what, if you're listening to that, then you say, listen, 8 hours, I can work with you how you want. But, if you add in another hour, it costs this much, then we're there and we can get both you getting ready and the toasts on the back end. Like if you're listening to them and then responding to what they say, that helps a whole lot. People and different people have different pain points. And the only reason that you can find those out is if you're listening to them. Because if you're in your own head and you're thinking about what you want to say next and how you want to sell, and maybe you do kind of have a sales call scripted in your mind. And what happens whenever bride is talking and she brings up point 5, but you haven't even finished point 1 yet? Guess what? You talk about point 5 right then. And then you skip over it when it's supposed to happen. Okay? Like if you're just listening, that goes a long way. And I mean, obviously it's not free money, because you're doing the work for it. But what John was saying is a great way to do this. Lining everything out and then bundling it together is a great way for you to almost guarantee that extra sale, right? Mm-hmm. If you say, okay, all this stuff individually is going to be $5,000, but if you do all of this, I'll do it for $4,000. If you pay right now, then you're like, oh, okay, that's so that's just a great way to think about those things and consider that. But listen. So many of us don't listen. We're just waiting on our turn to talk without listening.
I'm listening, but I want to talk.
Are you listening? Okay, yeah, I know.
You're saying it. I'm like, can I talk yet? I'm listening. I'm still listening.
Nope.
So Building a Story Brand is a book that I've been reading. Great book. Really good. Great recommendations inside the Facebook group. Thank you, Facebook group. But one of the main thing is like, and I'm reading it and saying, wow, I've done this part right, and wow, I've done this part wrong. But I mean, he's breaking down, all the best stories have a hero and a guide that has a problem, and like they have to fix it, that kind of thing. And most of us look at ourselves as like we're the hero. And we are not the hero. We are the guide, and we need to be guiding, and that should be our heart.
Our client is the hero.
Exactly. And so your words, the way that you're communicating to them and talking to them and telling them the story isn't, like, oh yeah, you're going to get a wedding video. It's telling them the story of like, this is what you're going to feel like when you walk into your reception room and you're going to see it for the first time. This is what you're going to think of. This is what your heart's going to be doing when you see your dad for the first time. And you're guiding them in these conversations. And because you're outside of the emotion of the day, if you're not a jerk, you can actually help them make good decisions for them so they can enjoy their day better. And when you do that and you get a taste of that, like, it changes the whole game whenever you've impacted their day and helped them enjoy their day. And that's what we tell them in our meetings. We're like, we'll make more money off of you doing more things, but I'm never going to sell you anything you don't need.
Yes.
I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to help guide you. And then they look to you for everything. They look to you. Do you recommend we do this? Should we do a confetti send-off? Should we do it? And then you're in this position where you can sell them anything, but if you're a good person, you don't sell them anything they don't need, and then they have this incredible experience with you. And what does that do? That makes it where you don't have to market as much. You don't have to spend as many dollars. And it's this cyclical thing where you blow it out of the water with an experience with somebody. Whenever one of their friends gets engaged and says, who do you recommend? Who do you think they're going to recommend? And so I can't tell you enough how many times by just being that guide and helping them be the hero of their story, like how many times that has generated me tens of thousands of dollars more and more bookings. And so, Nick, that's what I'm doing at 6 months. Yeah. So we've booked them, you've sent them gifts, we've stayed in contact with them. We have a 6-month check-in. What happens next?
Yeah, so throughout this whole process, and one of the things that I tell them in the initial sales call, whenever I talk to them on the phone or, Zoom call or whatever it may be, I'm letting them know, hey, we are not a one and done kind of thing. This isn't, hey, you book us today and then we show up on your wedding day. Like, we're always in contact. And one of the things I love about, we use Honeybook as our CRM, and we have automated emails that go out. So I wrote them, or my wife wrote them, and, they are going out to our clients, and we have them set up to go out so many months beforehand. So we have a 6-month and a 3-month and a 1 month and a 1 week, all these emails that are going out. They are, yes, everyone's getting the same email, but it is genuinely coming from us. And that helps us stay in contact with them. And then, John has talked about texting with them, following them on Instagram. And if you're following your clients on Instagram, interact with them. Okay. And I'm not just talking about liking an image. If they post an Insta story, talk about it, respond to it, ask them a question. If they post a picture, like they're an engagement picture or something fun that they're doing, comment on it, let them know, oh, this is so cool. I'm so excited to hang out with you. That just is building that rapport with them. So after the 6-month kind of checkup, then we have an email that goes out 3 months, and it's more just kind of checking in, say, hey, how's things are going? Do you have any timeline questions? Now is 3 months out is a real good time to really, think about that. we have a couple of template timelines, one with a first look and one without a first look, that we send them if they want it, just for kind of a base knowledge. Now, say, this is about kind of how we like to structure our day. We can work around this. However, if they're working with a planner, the planner's going to come up with the timeline. So I'm not too concerned about it, but we have it there with them if we need it. And then 1 month out, we send out an email about a meeting. So we can do another just to make sure, and a wedding day questionnaire. It's the same one that we sell in our How to Film Wedding shop, a wedding day questionnaire, so that people can fill out all of the information about their wedding day. And then we just talk about it, make sure we're on the same page with everything. So that's kind of up to kind of the wedding week, what we do. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, ours is a little different in the fact that in our initial meetings, like with the booking stuff, we try to walk through a timeline with them when we're in the consultation, and that's in our guide as well, just like helping them build a timeline. I try my best to be involved with the timeline by the 6 month out meeting, just so they're involving me. And I send timeline stuff out earlier than the 6 months. So that's a little different for me. On the 3 month out, I've had my 6 month out meeting, and usually in that 6 month out meeting, if they're not just ready to add stuff that day, the point of having that 6 months out is so they have time to process it and get ready to make decisions by their 3 month out meeting, and they don't use all of their budget. And so a lot of times they're like, we think we want to do the rehearsal dinner. And for us, that's $2,000. And so that's not just like, oh yeah, let me throw, $2,000 more dollars. They have to think about it. And
sure.
At that point, is the 3 month out for me is usually, okay, let's decide whether or not we're going to add some of these things. Obviously, I'll still let them add it as it gets a little closer. But the 3 month out is usually a phone call with just the bride or just the groom or just, like whomever is the main person I've been talking with. And just catching up with them, making sure they don't have any questions, that kind of thing. Just a quick 10-minute phone call is what I usually do at 3 months out. 1 month out's the same as you, Nick. I send that questionnaire, and I do schedule some stuff the week of the wedding. And I definitely want to get into that. We're almost to the wedding week. We're going to do that right after this break. Do you remember that wedding from a month ago? Yeah, like that one that you needed to start editing yesterday? But you also need to prep today for your wedding tomorrow, and you're leaving for your first vacation in forever on Monday. So what do? It seems that the only creative part of your edits are the excuses you're going to have to give your clients. We have the solution, Wedditor. Wedditor is a team of top wedding editors, project managers, and account coordinators that help us wedding filmmakers edit. They match the right editors with your style so you can spend your time where it matters most, on your business. Nick and I both use Wedditor, and we don't know how we would run our companies without them. It takes a team to build an amazing business, and you shouldn't try to do it all on your own. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor to help you free up your time so that you can focus on growing your brand. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. We know the time suck that is searching for the perfect song for your wedding film. MusicBed has spent years collaborating with artists, bands, and composers to make it easier than ever for anyone to find the right song for their video.
With amazing artists like Chapters, Tony Anderson, and The Light, The Heat, MusicBed is the best place for wedding videographers to get licensed music.
Their subscription service was a life changer for me, especially since all of their subscription music is pre-cleared for every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, Love Stories TV, and my personal favorite, YouTube, all pre-cleared.
And if you are interested in a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. When you sign up, use the promo code HTFW and you will get your first month for free.
All right, we are back from break, and we want to wrap this episode up with this last section talking about kind of what we are doing week of the wedding up until, even some post-wedding ideas for serving our clients. So we're going to talk about the things we're doing not on the wedding day. We're doing some before and then some after. We've talked a lot about, the wedding day itself, how we can serve. And in our complete wedding videography course, we really go into that. But today's episode, we're just going to talk about the things that we're doing outside of the wedding day. So Nick, we've gotten ourselves within a month of the wedding, within the week. What does it look like for you and Jen when we're talking about week of the wedding? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. So we do have an email that goes out 7 days before, maybe it's 6 days, I can't remember, before the wedding day. And, that one is just, hey, your wedding week is here. And we encourage them to, we know stuff is busy, we know stuff is stressful, but, take an evening, take some time with just you two, relax, no wedding talk allowed, just hang out with each other and spend some time with each other before this, just a little word of encouragement. I don't know how many people actually do it, but, just letting them know, hey, we've been married ourselves. We've been through this. We know what's going on. So take a moment and breathe. And we are really excited, for your wedding day. We can't wait to see you in just a few short days. So that's really what we do. I'm kind of texting the brides or grooms, that week also, and just saying, checking in. Hey, hope you're doing well. Do you need anything from us? Most of the time they say, nope, we're good. But, just letting them know that I'm here and that I care.
On our end of the deal, we usually try, our goal at that point within a week to 2 weeks of the wedding is when we try to do a final consultation with them where they come in, we go to dinner, we go to lunch, we kind of take them away from the craziness of the last, if it's within the week of the wedding, we usually don't. It's usually about 2 weeks out, but we send an email out 2 weeks out saying, hey, let's get together for our final meeting. It can be a phone call. It can be in person. Ideally, it is bride and groom, the planner and mom. And we're walking through the timeline, so I know it's very fresh on my mind. We're walking through the questionnaire, which has some questions on it like, are there any deaths or divorces or relationships issues? Tell us more about your story. At that point, whenever I'm really digging into the story of the couple, it's an hour-long meeting at the most, typically, where we're just kind of a breath of fresh air, helping make sure they haven't missed anything, reiterating what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and just putting them at ease. We don't need the meeting. We can do our job without it, but for us, it helps put them at ease. And so, especially if we're doing video and photo for the wedding, it's just great to have everybody in one spot. A lot of times we do it at our studio because we have a room with, couches and stuff like that in it where they can come in, we get drinks and just enjoy an hour together. And they're always so thankful that we did that. And it gives them one extra kind of face-to-face with us, face-to-face with their wedding planner. And it gives us that FaceTime with both them, their parents, anybody a lot of the times the groom isn't 1,000,000% interested in some of these, detail meetings and things like that. So the last one, just warming back up to him or their story, or, and so that's something we do. It doesn't always work out, but we try to do that, at least a Zoom call within a week of the wedding, just to be an extra service to people. So that's the week of the wedding for us.
Yeah. I was going to say, and I think I kind of mentioned it maybe before the break, but we do something very similar as well in that 1 month email. We send them a questionnaire, and then we also have a link for them to schedule a meeting with us. So I'm going over that questionnaire with them. I am having a face-to-face with them, usually not in person, usually over Zoom or FaceTime or something like that. And then we just kind of go over, make sure any questions they have. One section of the questionnaire that we have in there is, what Wild Oak Films elements are you really drawn to for their video? And then is there anything that they don't like? So we kind of get a good idea of, as they're thinking about their film, do they want letters? Do they want to, do they want that stuff included, or do they not want that kind of stuff? Most people are kind of you do whatever you want because, that's why we hired you. But, us having that information there is good for us to refer back to whenever we get to, the editing process. So, we are meeting with our couples, same as you, sometime in there. And, and then on the wedding, go ahead.
No, I was going to say on the wedding, We're on the same page. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. On the wedding day, here's something that I think it took me a while to do, and I don't know why this was. Maybe I just felt timid or whatever. The first thing that you need to do when you show up, when you are supposed to be there and you go inside, drop your gear off, go up to the bride and say, "Hi, I'm here. I'm so excited." Like, let them know you are there. Don't do this thing where if you're supposed to start at 10, you get there at 10 and then you go off and you shoot, detail stuff outside, for 30 or 45 minutes, because she's going to be thinking, it's 10 o'clock. Where's my videographer? Why aren't they there? Or, just standing back and, start working or whatever. At least introduce yourself, say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm so excited." Now with COVID-19 and all the things that's going on, you might have to change your approach to that. Maybe not as much hugging, maybe, no touching, maybe not that kind of stuff. But let them know that you're there and you're really, really excited. And then make the clients, serve them so well on the wedding day that they fall in love with your wedding film before they see a single second of footage. Treat them so good. Let them know that the price that they paid for you was worth it, and how you are treating them along the way, so that they're kind of happy with what they've got, even if they don't get anything, no product, you know what I mean? Obviously they're going to get a beautiful film, but if you treat them so well, I have gotten so many compliments at the end of a wedding day when people are like, "You guys did awesome. This was amazing." And I'm like, we've all had that thought, right? How do you know it was awesome? Like, I could have not had a battery in this camera all day. You wouldn't know, So treat them so well that they love their film before they see a second of it.
Yep. I love it. I'm trying to think of the things I do a little bit differently. We send another greetable the week of the wedding, happy wedding week kind of greetable. That's usually like, I think Nina picks all those out. So I think it's usually like a bath bomb or something. I don't even know what that means, but it's something that's supposed to relax the bride. I don't know. And just a little gift, little thank you, happy wedding week from us. I'll shoot them a text saying happy wedding week. I'm filming a wedding tomorrow, and so I sent a message, this week, and was just like, "It's wedding week. Can you believe it's here?" Like that, and just had conversations like that kind of stuff. Just being in context. So like tomorrow, whenever I get to the wedding, they're not going to be like, "Who's that again?" Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like they're excited to see you. And then, like you said, on the wedding day, this episode, the client experience, is kind of what we're calling it, and it's the experience, the whole thing for the couple, and not only just the couple, but their families. Like, you have to have this mindset that you're there to serve. You're there to give them a great experience. Will everything work out okay? No. Will you get the perfect shot of the ballroom without some waitstaff ruining it? Probably not. Will you get, will the sun be in the right spot during the outdoor ceremony? Maybe not. But we look in all these groups at everybody's films, and like, they're so perfect, and like, you get frustrated if you're not getting everything you want. And it's like, you have to remember who the hero of the day is, and it's the bride and the groom, and you're there to serve them. And I think so many times I've been, guilty of just being, man, I didn't get enough good stuff. I wish I would have got more. And it's like all about me and not about them. And if your heart is more, about helping capture their day and help serving them on the day, and their family and their moms and their grandmas, and, little things go a long way, opening doors for people. That kind of stuff is a great part of the experience you can offer. And then I was going to also point out that, like, one part of our experience whenever we started charging more was just the way the way we brought in our gear, where we put our gear, how it's stored, how we, how organized and out of the way and connected. And like, we find the planner, we connect with them. If we're supposed to start at 10, we're getting there an hour before and connecting with the photographer and the family, and just like the planner, the event. Like, I'm hoping that everyone has a good experience with me. And so that is really, really important. And then the other thing we did when we started really raising our prices was I elevated the look and feel of my wardrobe. I took it up a notch when it came to the suit that I'm wearing or not, or, just thinking about, obviously comfort and, movability, but at the same time, like, I want people to be like, whoa, that's a sharp. That's a sharp guy. He's got his stuff together.
Sharp-dressed,
He's sharp, it's dapper, or whatever. And so obviously comfort for moving around and stuff, but like just the entire from beginning to end, you want them to just be like, how in the world did I get lucky enough to find this person?
Yeah.
Like they are my people. They are exactly I'm so thankful for them. And if you do that, maybe not every customer and every, couple feels it the same way. But like the majority of your couples, like Nick is saying, are just going to love your film, their film before they even see it. They love you. They feel like part of the family. Mom wants to, message you and send you a tip afterwards. Or like there's just so many things, good things that happen by treating people well for so long. So that's the basic heart of our week of and the wedding day. Anything else to add to that before we wrap up with kind of the post-wedding?
Yeah, well, I'll happily move on to the post stuff. So one thing that we highly recommend, and John and I have talked about this before. He got on to me for saying that we've talked about this before, and I just said it again. I'm sorry. And now I didn't get on to you.
I just typed. I just said, stop saying that.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're 105 episodes in.
Yeah,
we've said a lot of this stuff before.
That's true. Anyways, so you need to be in contact with your couple the week after the wedding. Okay, we have it set up in Honeybook where I say the Monday after the wedding, I have an email all ready to go. I go in and I change it a little bit. And one, you're letting them know what they purchased. Okay, so they have that idea. They know this is what you're getting. And then two, let them know your editing time, how long it takes, and a date when they will have everything done. So, if I film the wedding on January 1st, I will say, hey, did I say something weird?
No, I have a thought after you're done.
Okay, cool. So I send them an email. If the wedding's on January 1st, on January 2nd, I am sending them this email that says, hey, this is what you're getting, your highlight film, your ceremony edits, digital download, all of that. Our editing time is 4 months. So that means by May 1st, you will have everything. Obviously, I'm trying to get stuff faster to them. We want to under-promise and over-deliver as much as we can, but that is my guaranteed you will have everything by 4 months date, okay? People don't read contracts. People are so upset. Oh, why don't they read the contract? They should know that it's going to take this long and what they get and all that stuff. People don't read them. You don't read them. I don't read them. So if you send that email, they might not like that it's going to take 4 months, but they have the information. Now, 4 months in one day, if you haven't given it to them, I can guarantee you're going to get an email. Say, hey, where's my stuff? So just know that information. But that serves them so well because you're giving them that information right after the wedding.
It's a great point, my friend. And I didn't mean to giggle and then in the back of your mind the whole time you're talking, you're like, what's John going to say?
What are you talking about me?
So here's my thought. Here's what I do. It's similar but different. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I usually we usually do some type of a same day edit or within a few days. And so my thought is I don't bother them until I will send them a text with the video on it, which is congratulations, this is great. They're usually on their honeymoon, so I don't want to send them anything that makes them feel like anything except for, oh my gosh, you guys should just have a ton of fun, enjoy. So usually about 8 or 9 days after the wedding is whenever I'll send something that's just hope you guys are doing well, hope married life is treating you well. It is, I wouldn't be able to operate in the fact of telling someone a hard date of when something's going to be ready. That would make me feel very nervous and pressured and make me feel like if I got behind, I would be rushing. I would feel uncomfortable. So that's why I went on the because I was just I couldn't tell somebody, okay, your stuff will be done by this date. The contract says up to X amount of months, and I tell them, right now my lead time. I'll usually say it's June or May right now. If I had weddings right now that I was editing, I'd probably say something I'm editing my weddings from April right now. I take as long as I need for each one, but usually somewhere in 2 to 4 months, or whatever. I don't say 2. Usually somewhere by this time is kind of how long it's taking. So you're a few months out. I'll be in touch as we get closer. I'll remind them of what's in the package. Instead of, it's kind of the same way to me with like, I don't give them a date range. Like I don't say it's a 6 to 8 minute film. I just say it's an 8 minute film. Like I say it's 6 months is kind of when they have it. But my main thing is just like not putting myself in a box. Like, so you can do it however you want. I don't think it matters either way, but I've known Nick a while, and I know that he has been stressed pretty heavily sometimes by deadlines that he has to get things done by, which is a good thing because you're getting stuff done like on a certain time. But I creatively feel very stifled when I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get it done right now. So like there's a, double-edged sword there. That's all.
Sure.
Thoughts, Nick?
Sure.
Rebuttal?
Sure. No, I mean, I don't know. I want to honor what my contract says. So, and that's what it says. It's 4 months. And so I'm having it done. And I think that how most people are, if you communicate with them and let's say, you put 4 months and it's not going to happen, don't just not respond to them. Don't just not reach out. But if you reach out to them and say, hey, stuff is busier than usual and I want to give you the time, give your film the time that it deserves so I can do it correctly and I can do it right. It might be, a couple extra weeks. But if you extend your time, you better be done by that extended time. That's what I was going to say. So,
did you guys all out there notice how Nick was like, well, I like to honor my contract, like just like I don't.
Hey,
my contract, which is I would assume or fits a better thing here, would be that it says 6 months, up to 6 months, unless otherwise written notice. So that gives you like an out. And yes, I haven't gotten past, I think, like a 3 month
I'm sorry,
turnaround
I
time.
didn't mean to jab you like that.
It's
It's
right here. It's sore, but hopefully people know that I honor my contracts. But mine says 6 months unless otherwise notified. I haven't had to notify somebody that it's longer than 6 months in, I don't know, 5 years. So it's usually 2 to 3 months out, and so I'm usually way far ahead. And then, like the last little bit, you're laughing at me.
I can't stop. I'm sorry. I was a volcano butt to you, and now a jackball. I was a jackball to you,
It's
and
okay.
now
I'm used to it at this point. It's fine.
yeah, a little bit.
My
Sorry.
last bit is the post. Like I know we're running out of time. We're getting close here, but hey, bonus time for me and Nick to make fun of each other. But so like the wedding is over. They're back from the honeymoon. They know when stuff is expected of them. Whether or not you set yourself a very hard deadline that could stress you out, or you have the right kind of contract. Either way. Either way you do it, you've got. But one thing that I do leading up to it is tell them we can always add things after the fact. We can always add the raw footage later. We can always make your film longer. We can always add the ceremony later. And so that's when I start, like whenever I'm getting ready to start, like if I'm working on a project and I know next week I'm starting Jimmy and Susie's wedding, I will send them a message and say, guess who's starting? I'm so excited. Like, I'm very pumped about this. Just wanted to let you know that this is what's included. Have you guys thought more about ceremony edit, reception edits, speeches, FOMO, fear of missing out edit, digital download, like anything? Like, have you guys thought about any of these things? I think with knowing your wedding film might need to be a little longer, so I'll let you know as I'm editing it. Like reminding them things that they could be purchasing. And most every single couple adds $500 to $1,000 worth of add-ons at that point. And so that's usually 2 or 3 months after the wedding. The dust is settled again. You're not putting them in this box where they had to make this decision at the beginning of their wedding, and it serves them and makes you more money. And so there's a lot more that goes into the experience. We'll have to do another episode. I want Nick to talk a little bit about what he does, but there's a lot more that goes into how we upload and how we share and all these things, just like serving them by doing that. But that is the way that I do it. I'm out. Nick, you tell us. And
Man,
yeah,
this was I think this was a really good episode where we have, just opened up the door and shown you kind of our client experience. I know we've mentioned several times in this episode about like our email templates or our wedding day questionnaire and stuff like that. So if you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/shop, you can check out all of the things that we talked about in this episode, and it will definitely help you with your client experience. Thank you so much for joining us for the How to Film Weddings podcast. And until next time, we will see you.
See ya.